we go. I'm going to put the bell ringing on. Okay, we're ready for the opening music. Here we go. Come on, Bill, dance with me. Oh, look at him go with that disco shirt.
Always want to look good.
Welcome to the Creativity Show. Alive hour, let it flow.
Let it flow.
Unscripted words.
Unscripted. Velvet ring.
Savvy minds on the line they bring.
You're all my savvy minds. I'm in the glow. Radio-Red. Let's go.
Tell me what it is that sparks your fire.
What sparks your fire?
Keeps you moving higher and higher. The Creativity Show.
There we go. New music. I'm so happy. I love to dance in my chair. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Monday. Where else would Radio-Red be except here? And I renamed the show today. I don't know if anybody noticed my three guests, but I snuck a new word in the title. If you look at me, I'm calling it the Creativity Spark Show. We're going to talk about your spark. You like that, Nancy? You like that, Hilary?
Yes,
Bill,
I
you
do.
like that?
I like that.
I just came up with it over the weekend. And Jordan, our engineer for the Voice America Media Empowerment Channel, I just want you to know that we're going to get the word spark in there somewhere today. So welcome, everybody. It is June 15th. I don't know where the year is going, the month is going, my goodness gracious, but I have to tell you, a couple of people are having birthdays today, and I want you to know this because we're going to wish them well. Ice Cube, the rapper, is 57 today, if you're counting. Helen Hunt, you all know her from Castaway, from Mad About You. How many movies hasn't she been in? She's 63. Neil Patrick Harris, remember Doogie Howser? And he was on How I Met Your Mother, all kinds of shows. He's 53, growing up. Courtney Cox, remember Monica from Friends and the Scream movies? She's 62. And then not so happy news is that today is the day that Ella Fitzgerald passed away in 1996, the Queen of Jazz. And Casey Kasem, anybody remember the American Top 40, right? The list. Bill remembers it. Nancy and Hilary too. Yeah, he passed away today in 2014. Today, I have to tell you all, it's Lobster Day, just in case you're wondering what to have for dinner. Bill, somebody told me I had to tell you that. It's Fly a Kite Day. I didn't say Go Fly a Kite Day. It's Nature Photography Day, Kiss a Wookiee Day. I don't know any Wookiees. And it's Ride a Motorcycle to Work Day in case you have a bike. I want to tell you that Shakespeare said on the topic of smiles, with mirth and laughter, let old wrinkles come. We're not talking about that anymore. Okay, welcome to the Creativity Show. I'm Radio-Red, happy to be here. And let's see, what day in the year is it? Let's see if I have this in my notes here already. It is the 166th day of 2026. We're in the Gregorian calendar. Bill, did you know that we used to use the Julian calendar years ago? I think you've heard of that, Bill. And
Before Pope Gregory, yes.
there you go. And Julian couldn't figure out what to do with that extra day, and he skipped the first week of October. So, Nancy, if you were a Libra like me, you might have missed your birthday because every couple of years you didn't get it. Well, Gregorian came along and he said, the tides and the moon, let's do a leap year. We'll add a day every fourth year. And that's what I think he's famous for. He said to his mom, I may be a pope, but I'm going to be the one who gave them the new calendar. And in hundreds of years from now, somebody called Radio-Red is going to sit with no wires and talk over this thing called the internet and tell people how famous I am. So I think we should do an appreciation to him. Okay, let's get going with the show. I have three wonderful guests. I met two of them at the National Publicity Summit, Nancy Kors and Dr. Bill Lanting, and a mutual friend, Bill Horan, who is also a radio host from Long Island, introduced me to Hilary Topper, and I'm happy to have you here. So here we go, and when I call your name, wave or do something. So here we are. All right, welcome to the Creativity Spark Show, where real life stories alight. Radio-Red on her Scarlett Mic streaming live and bright. The Tenacity of Creativity is our feature today in honor of the three of you, where endurance, you know who that's for, resilience and reinvention light the way. Nancy L. Kors, PhD, wave hello. Bill Lanting, hi, Bill Lanting, MD, JD, a lot of degrees there, say hello. And Hilary Topper is with us too. Creative voices, sharing real life journeys with me and you. Hear how creativity has powered them again and again and again as passion and purpose became their continuing yen. I like that word. Okay, Hilary, I have a gift for you and you're up first, and let me read this to you. From childhood trials that tested her spirit in ways profound, Nancy learned that love and safety are treasures to be found. While others chased adventures, babies captured her heart. The miracle of birth and new beginnings became Nancy's life art. When her dachshund welcomed puppies, Nancy hurried home in delight, witnessing new life entering the world became a sacred sight. From Wisconsin to France, where ballet and learning helped her grow, her curiosity about life's beginnings continued to glow. A PhD exploring pregnancy and motherhood earned her acclaim. A standing ovation in Maui brought recognition to her name. Helping birth mothers and adoptive families became Nancy's mission true, and nearly 2,000 babies found loving homes because of what she would do.
Oh.
Nancy, welcome. I hope you enjoyed that.
Oh, thank you. I did.
You're
And
welcome.
you can see the babies on my wall.
We can, and we'll be talking to you in a minute and learn more, and you can tell us about them. And we have Bill Lanting. From Staten Island roots with Manhattan just over the bay, Bill knew by age 5 that medicine would shape his way. Carrying his father's doctor bag on a house call one day, he discovered a calling that never faded away. Reading by age 2 and graduating from high school ahead of the crowd, Bill's curiosity and his ambition made his family very proud. From chemistry to medicine, where healing became his art, helping patients and families claimed a place in Bill's heart. Yet adventure called as well. Bill, from 84 countries viewed near and far to 291 skydives, proving courage is what makes him a star. Doctor, attorney, collector, author, with stories still to be told, Bill has a lifetime of creativity, curiosity, and daring, quite bold. Bill, welcome. I hope you like that.
Very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And Hilary, you're next. From Long Beach, New York, where ocean breezes filled the air, Hilary loved reading, drawing, and dreaming without a care. Though some teachers claimed she'd never amount to very much one day, her grandmother said, "Shoot for the stars," and helped Hilary find her way. Drawn to writing and communication from the very start, Hilary discovered that connecting people was both a skill and an art. Leaving Long Beach for Manhattan's culture, its energy and light, Hilary embraced new possibilities and chased them with delight. A PR firm, 4 books, podcasts, and classrooms followed too. Helping others share their stories became the work she would pursue. At 53, she learned to, you're only 35, how could you do anything at 53? At 53, she learned to swim, then endurance sports refreshed her life's view. Today, Hilary inspires others to dream bigger and see their challenges through. Welcome, Hilary. I hope you enjoyed that.
That was beautiful.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. So let me finish this part up. So gather around where the cool kids and the cool vibes sway. You saw us dance, you know we're cool. As we dive deep into creativity and the spark today. AKA Radio Red's energy lights the way. We hope to inspire you to live large, love life, and play. Okay, kids, how'd I do? What'd you think?
Great.
I get a thumbs up there. That's my gift to you. Bill, you want to say something?
Sounds great. I'm interested in everybody else. It's going to be a good show.
It absolutely. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're approving and applauding there. And hello to Jordan Henson, our engineer, who's getting us on the Voice America Media Empowerment channel. And I've got us on Facebook and Facebook twice and LinkedIn and YouTube. So there we go. Let's go around the table and learn a little more about you in brief sound bites. Nancy Kors, I'm so happy to have you here. And your
thank you.
wall of babies is so impressive. I'm putting you on speaker view so that people can see you and the wall. Nancy, take about 2 minutes and tell us a little more about what this wall means and what you'd like to talk about. Go ahead.
Well, after I got my doctorate in the psychology of pregnancy, I worked with 2 OB/GYNs, a midwife, and a doctor who was starting on IVF. And then, I'd see women who were pregnant but didn't want to abort and, didn't know what to do. So adoption was an alternative for them. And I helped them find families. They picked the family and the birth mother picked them. And I will tell you, my son just recently adopted a baby, and he's really doing it the ideal way. And that is staying in touch with the birth mom. She gets pictures all the time. And my son's in New York. The birth mom was in California. He flies out every year so that she can see the baby and the baby can know the truth from the beginning. So I just, foster care is actually heinous. In California, 70% of California prisoners grew up in foster care. And it's just not a good solution. Finding babies permanent homes from the beginning, if their parents, the mom can't take care of them, is the ideal way. So I feel I've saved all those babies behind me from foster care, and they pick the families, they stay in contact, and I just feel like I love it.
It's a very important life's work you're doing, Nancy. I
Yes, thank
applaud
you.
you. I appreciate you. And let me ask you a question. Did they send you these pictures or do you take them? Or how do you get the pictures?
Both ways. I get Christmas cards all the time from them. And I have to tell you, unfortunately, we were made illegal. Adoption facilitators were made
Yeah.
illegal in California because, and you said not to discuss anything
No politics. Don't put
controversial.
any names
No, I
on them, but
won't. I won't.
yeah, you had
But
to
I
take
am,
down all of your promotions and your social pages. I saw that in your notes, but I hope.
so yeah.
What
I've
about
written
your
a
book?
book.
Tell us about
Yeah.
your book.
This
Go
is the
ahead.
cover of my book. And
Beautiful.
it's 3 stories about the birth moms and the families. And the birth moms told me every little detail. I mean, I knew about it. And it's not published yet. I'm hoping to get it published, and then I'm hoping to make it into a TV series, something like This Is Us. So the
Don't hope,
stories,
just do it. Have
I
that
am going to
spark.
do it.
Just make it
Yes.
happen. We're gonna vote for you to make it happen. I use the
All
word vote.
right. Well,
We're gonna
thank
cheer
you.
you on. There we go. Thank you, Nancy. It's a pleasure
Oh,
to have
thank
you.
you. It was a pleasure to tell you about it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's go to Bill Lanting. Dr. Bill, I'm putting you on speaker view. Tell us a little more about yourself and welcome.
As you said, I wanted to be a doc since I was 5, so I never really figured out what I wanted to do. But I practiced for 43 years. I've seen tens of thousands of patients, and as an allergist, asthmatologist, I've made them wonderful. My motto is, don't be better, be great. And I've changed so many lives, and they're very happy, and it's just been so fulfilling. But I think my passion that we talked about was I love to travel. I've been to 6 continents, 84 countries, 50 states, 2 million air miles, and just met so many people and learned so much. And that's something I just love to do. During these travels, though, I've had 23 close to near-death experiences and 14 near close. So that's what's in my latest book, is that going over all these different trials and tribulations. People said, you're dangerous to be around. I go, no, I've survived. I'm good to be around. But that's
Can
my
you,
big love is travel.
Bill, can you describe one without getting into, I hate to say this, gory details. Can you describe one near-death experience for us? I think everybody would like to hear that. Can you?
The one that gets most people interested is that I was in Botswana on a safari, and we were driving around in a Land Rover, and we went past a herd of elephants, a bull and his 7 females in his harem. We pulled, a few hundred yards away. We stopped and watched, and then all of a sudden, his ears went up, his trunk went out, and all of a sudden he's charging us. Dust is flying, his ears are flapping, and he's coming towards us. Well, the guy had shut the motor off, so he's trying to get the Land Rover started. And, everybody in the Land Rover is looking at the elephant. I'm looking at the guy who's driving, and I'm going, come on. And he tried once and twice, finally kicked over. And then as he pulled away, the elephant's coming, and we just made it. But elephants are known to trample elephants and the contents therein. So the paper would have said, local doctor trampled by elephant.
Oh my goodness gracious. How many seconds away from that trampling? Can you put a number on that?
I don't know, 5, 8. It was really close because he was closing the gap, and elephants in Africa could go 30 miles an hour, and we were just starting from dead stop.
Wow.
So it was catching up, but we made it.
I'm glad you're here, Bill. Thank you very much. Interesting. And Hilary Topper, happy to have you here. And I know very little about you because I didn't meet you at the Publicity Summit. But again, shout out to Bill Horan, our mutual friend. Bill recommended you to me. And I said, any client, colleague, friend, guest, a Bill. I got to have her on. So here you are. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what endurance means to you? Welcome,
Thank,
Hilary.
thank you. Thank you so much for having me. So yeah, so my thing is that I was just working like crazy hours at my public relations firm, right? I was just going, it was just everything that I was doing it for my kids, my husband, my parents. It was getting very intense. And then at 48, I said, I've got to change my life. I can't keep going like this anymore. So I joined the gym for the first time in my life. I joined New York Sports Club, and there, the trainer said to me, "Go on the treadmill and start working out." But little did he know, I didn't know how to use the treadmill. So I said to him, so I didn't, he left me, and I asked the woman next to me who was running, "Could you please stop and help me turn on the treadmill?" And she did. I mean, it was really very nice of her. But anyway, so that was really the start of it. And from there, I started to walk and then kind of run. And, it went on like that. I ended up, meeting a girlfriend who from one of these women's groups, and she said to me, "Let's run on the boardwalk together." And I said to her, "How can I run with you? You just did the New York City Marathon." It was like totally, random, right? And anyway, so she said, "No, no, let's run together. It'll be fine." So we started to walk together on the boardwalk. And the next thing I know, we're doing this on every weekend. And she says to me, "Oh, I think that we should do a half marathon." And that was really the start of it.
And I'm looking at your books behind you, and it says "From Couch Potato to," is that you in the red shirt?
That is, yes. And
Wow.
that's my story. It goes on from there, to also talk about, doing the New York City I mean, I am the most non-athletic triathlete you will ever meet.
But you did it. Talk about endurance. I noticed in your bio, your origin story, you sent me, you said your endurance in college was working hard, working in class all day, studying all night, and then going and partying all evening. And that was your endurance. Nancy, that's how she trained for endurance. And Bill, she put it in there. I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, but I just did. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, let's go to the quotes. I've asked each of you to send me a fictional character quote or a song lyric, fictional quote from a movie or a TV show. And I have some interesting news for you, Nancy. Nancy sent a quote from Dolly Parton, and the quote is "working 9 to 5." But I'm going to explain something. 9 to 5, which is spelled out Nine to Five in the opening credits of the movie, starred Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, Dolly Parton, Dabney Coleman, Elizabeth Wilson, Sterling Hayden. It was a very memorable movie. Three women working, played by Fonda, Tomlin, and Parton, living out their fantasies of getting even with and overthrowing the sexist, egotistical, lying, hypocritical bigot who was the vice president, played by Dab. I think everybody hated him by the time it got to that. The movie grossed $103 million, and it launched Dolly Parton, who was already a musician, as a mainstream popular culture actress. There was a TV show based on the film that ran for 5 seasons in the 1980s. There was a musical stage adaptation on Broadway in 2009. Of course, Dolly wrote more. I have to tell you that it's number 74, Nancy, on American Film Institute. That's the AFI, the 100 funniest movies, and it has a 69% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a cult classic. So working 9 to 5, but I have to tell you something. Nancy, are you sitting down?
Yeah, I'm sitting down
Okay, Dolly
on
Parton.
the pillow to be high
Dolly
enough.
Parton is launching a coffee brand that is her brand on June 24th, and it's called A Cup of Ambition. And she is launching it at a travel truck stop in, I think, Charleston something, Tennessee. I should know. It's near Nashville. And this is going to be a complex with lounges and places for truckers. It's going to have a stage. It's going to have EV charging stations and gas stations and a restaurant and porches and all kinds of things. It's a whole complex that Dolly is launching, but she's debuting her coffee at this new place on June 24th, and then it'll be available nationwide as ground coffee in K-cups. So I announced that on my morning show today. You know what? I'm doing it tomorrow, actually. This is a preview. So Nancy, I'm putting you on speaker view, and I'd like you to tell us, what does working 9 to 5 have to do with your creativity? Nancy, talk to us.
Well, it's just being immersed in what you're doing and having a passion. So it's not really working. It's fun. It's your passion. And actually, my son went to Vanderbilt, and he's going down there for a reunion. I'll tell him to go find the coffee shop.
Absolutely. It's a truck stop, travel stop, and it's not opening until June 24th. But if he's there, well, today is the 15th, so in 9 days it's opening.
Right,
That would be a lot of fun. Yeah, so Dolly's going to be. I've been to Dollywood. Has anybody been to Dollywood? Yes, Bill, did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, it used to be Silver Dollar City.
Okay, I went to the one here in Sevierville, Tennessee. I'm located now near about a half hour out of Knoxville. So I went there about 3 years ago and had a really, really good time. Spent a day and a half there, and it was lovely. Okay, thank you, Nancy, for that. Very interesting. And Bill, I'm going to your quote, and your quote is a double hit because it's a song title and it's also a line from the movie Rocky III, the sports drama film in 1982. It's spoken by Apollo Creed, played by Carl Weathers. And the song, the title you would like us to talk about is Eye of the Tiger. Let me read the line from the movie. You had that eye of the tiger, man, that edge. You got to get it back. And I didn't know this, but the song was composed by Survivor at the request of Sylvester Stallone. He needed a theme for the movie, and Queen refused his request to play Another One Bites the Dust. So he went to Survivor and he said, hey, would you write me a song? And guitarist Frankie Sullivan and keyboardist Jim Petterick designed the driving guitar riff that matched the rhythm of the boxing punches. So Sly Stallone commissioned the track, and it became a massive global hit from the movie as well. So, Eye of the Tiger. Bill Lanting, I'm putting you back on speaker view. Tell us what this means to your creativity, please.
Whenever I need inspiration, I put on Rocky III. He puts, himself out there, and he's defeated. He doesn't think there's much of a future. He actually says, I'm afraid, but, he gets himself together and, does well and defeats Clubber Lang. So the great line there by Carl Weathers is, there is no tomorrow. And the thing is, yeah, you got to get yourself together and, get going and commit to yourself. And that's the main thing about life. You need to, just not hesitate, see what the future is, envision it, and then go for it. And if you really want to do something, again, you got to be inspired in this film, and that music, especially with the tune, just get your blood pumping, and you can accomplish anything. I've started books and projects and businesses, and that's what I listen to every time I have to go and do something.
I love it. So it's a mantra in a way. It's your mantra. It's your theme song. It's your pep me up and get me going and get me to. I like that. I haven't heard anybody describe a song quite that way. I asked some later on in the show. I'll ask, do you listen to music when you're writing? A lot of people say I have opera on in the background or I have jazz, but nobody's ever said when I need that pep, I need that perking, I turn on that movie and that music. Very interesting. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate that. And Hilary has a line spoken and sung. We've got speaking and singing. I don't think I've ever had guests send lines that are from movies as from the singing as well as the spoken word. This is spoken and sung by Dr. Frank N. Furter, originally played by Tim Curry in the 1973 musical and the 1975 cult classic musical comedy horror film, The Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's the 75 film is produced by Lou Adler and Michael White, directed by Jim Sharman, and distributed by 20th Century Fox. The film is based on the 1973 stage musical, The Rocky Horror Show. Blah, 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 blah. The production is a tribute to the science fiction and horror B-movies of the 1930s through the early 1960s. Tim Curry, this was his debut. I didn't know that. Susan Sarandon, beautiful. And Barry Bostwick, I like him. Narrated by Charles Gray. And the cast members from the original Royal Court Theater, the Roxy Theater and the Belasco, were part of the cast. The original members, including Neil Campbell and Patricia Quinn. The story centers on a young engaged couple whose car breakdown in the rain. I wish I had rain sound effects. Near a castle where they search for help. The castle is occupied by strangers in elaborate costumes holding a party. They meet the head of the house, Dr. Frank Edverder, apparently a mad scientist and alien transvestite from the planet, transsexual, in the galaxy of Transylvania, who creates a living muscle man named Rocky. How did we end up with Rocky in this and Rocky in Bill's? Did you two talk to each other? This just doesn't happen very often. Anyway, the quote, believe it or not, that Hilary picked from the song and the speech is, "Don't dream it, be it." Hilary, would you rescue me, please? What does
Yes.
this to do with what you're talking about? Go ahead.
Oh, I actually even mentioned that I have a tattoo that I can't show it, but it's on my arm, and it says, "Don't dream it, be it." And the reason why this resonated with me was because so many people say, I can't do this. I could never be a triathlete. I could never run a race. I could never do this. I could never do that. And but I'd love to do it one day, but I'll never do it, right? So for me, it's like, if I'm dreaming about something, I dreamt that I wanted to swim around Mackinac Island. It was an 8.3-mile swim. Now, mind you, back in the day, less than 10 years ago, I just learned how to swim, right, at 53. So, but I did this 8.3-mile swim. So I'm just saying that, don't dream it, be it, do it, go for it. If you have a goal, go for it. Don't hold yourself back. Nobody's stopping you.
And we know the quote from Yoda that goes with this, Hilary, is do or do not. There is no try. Isn't
You're
that the
right.
truth for all of us? Isn't that the truth? I know you have dimmers on your lights sometimes, but the switch is either on or it's off. It's either a 0 or a 1. And what a lot of people need to be reminded of is that doing nothing is a decision. It's not the
Correct.
absence of decision, it's the decision to not do the other thing. So before I get too preachy, thank you all for the quotes. Interesting that Rocky, he created Rocky, and you picked a Rocky movie. And you picked a Dolly Parton quote, and I just found the news that she's got her coffee brand coming out. Nancy, were you all here in my office? I don't know what's going on, but thank you. That's lovely. See how much fun we have with the quotes? Okay, let's go to the creativity statements. And here's how I'm going to work. We're going to turn it into a real round table. I've got 2 statements here I'm combining for Nancy. Nancy, you don't have to find them. I'm going to read everything. And I'm
Okay.
going to ask Nancy to unpack it, expand it a little bit. And then I'm going to go back to Hilary and Bill and ask you, does this mean something to you? Does this resonate with you? Is it so you're allowed to say no, that's okay. Or you could say, yeah, let me think about that. Or that's exactly what I do, whatever your choice is. So, and Nancy looks like she's in a good mood. So if you disagree with her, it's fine too. And she won't be mad at you. Okay, so let's go to Nancy. I'm picking 2 statements from you, part of creativity statement number 2 and number 3. You say, I decided to write my book 4 years ago. It took me 2 years to write it. Okay, that's the first part. The second part is, I write on my computer at the desk in my office with the wall of pictures of the babies behind me that we're looking at, I saved from foster care. So you've got your inspiration from the wall. Nancy, I'm putting you back on speaker view. Tell us a little more about how you wrote the book and what was the creative spark that got you to do that? Go ahead.
Well, I think the women that decide on adoption need to be honored and cherished. And I have three amazing stories about 3 different birth moms and their journey to decide to, find families. And am I allowed to tell a little about one of them? Or
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Oh, okay. Well, the first story, and the names were all changed, was Molly. Molly came into my office. She was a really big person. She said, yesterday I found out I'm pregnant with twins. I don't want them separated at birth like I was. So she had been adopted. She was separated from her twin brother. And she didn't find out till she was 18. On her birthday, her father said to her, "Okay, now you're old enough to know I you were adopted." She didn't know she was adopted, and you had a twin brother. And so she was just so upset that she was absolutely so upset that they didn't adopt both. She went and did find the orphanage finally. And it's a crazy story because when then she was pregnant with twins, a boy and a girl, and the doctor wanted to do an amniocentesis when she went to the doctor to see if they could deliver. He was worried about, her health, and he thought they should deliver the babies right away if the lungs were ready. She refused to go to the amniocentesis. She didn't want them stabbing her with needles twice. And later, one of the babies didn't make it, and she was arrested for murder. It is a true story,
Oh
and
my
it was
God.
in papers. It was anyway. It was
Oh,
really,
Nancy.
yeah.
Wow. And you documented, and she gave you permission to
Oh
document
my
this in
God,
the
I
book?
spent hours on the phone with her. She was so happy that I was
Wow.
writing her story because she didn't want this to happen to anyone else.
Of course. And the one that survived was adopted by a good home?
This, yes, the one that's actually, I just talked to them last week. They called me. Yes. And then she happened again. There was a big trial, and then she finally didn't go to jail, but she was in jail a little bit about it. She was put in jail. I mean,
And you
and
documented it in
I
your book?
documented the whole time in jail. And actually, I have a friend who is a rabbi that worked at Folsom, and he said my description of how the prisoners are treated was right
Okay,
on.
we're not going to get into that, but
All right.
thank you.
No, we won't get into
So
it.
you write in your office. That's where the nugget we're going to take on the creativity and
Right.
taking a while to write the book. So, Bill and I keep saying Bill and Hillary. I've got to forgive me. Okay, Hillary and Bill, or whatever order I say it in. Hillary, do you write at a desk? Do you write in your computer in a home office? Let's go from there.
Yeah, so I have a home office, and my first book, From Couch Potato to Endurance Athlete, was actually stories that I write on my blog. They were actual stories, and I pulled them off my blog because my SEO guy was like, you got too much on there. You got to take
Yeah.
some stuff off. So I pulled them off, and I have a stack like this, and I'm like, maybe I have a book here. And after, back and forth with one of my colleagues, she said to me, you know what? This is a book, but you got to put personal stuff in there. You got to really delve deep. Why did you keep trying to do a marathon or a triathlon or whatever it is that you did? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what was the motivation? What was the
Sure.
and so I had to add that in. And yeah, like Nancy, I write at a desk. I don't have music going because that would be too distracting for me, otherwise I'd be dancing and
I'd be dancing in the background of the music. Thank you, Bill. Do you write at a desk? Let's start from there.
I write on my PC from the very couch I'm sitting on now. And when it comes to me, sometimes it could be for half an hour, sometimes a couple hours. I've been telling a lot of these stories for a long time, so they just kind of come and flow. But one of the things my ex told me, she says, I liked your book, but you don't read fiction, do you? And I went, no. So it was kind of like a straight memoir. She goes, no, you need to read James Lee Burke and Hemingway and a couple other authors. And I said, hmm. So I did. I went to the library, got a couple books, and changed the book, doubled the size, so I could be descriptive, saying, what did the sky look like? What did the water look like? What was the tunnel like? When the elephant was charged? Because you got to watch a YouTube video on a charging elephant so you can describe it to people so they can feel it, right? Because you tell a good story, but hey, I'm not getting this. So actually, I just did a rewrite. Now it's in editing. That
Good.
was one of the things, just sitting here on the couch, trying to be creative when I could.
There you go. And I want to add something. Hillary, I used to do some teaching. I know Nancy or Hillary, you must know, you've heard of Great Neck, right?
yeah.
I
That's
lived in
where I
Great
grew up.
I lived in Great Neck for 32 years and I was
Oh,
teaching eBay skills at Great Neck Adult Ed for many years because I was in between corporate jobs and I was selling on eBay. So I went to them and said, I want to teach. They said, oh, we just got rid of the eBay teacher. Starts in 5 days, write a curriculum and you start. Okay, I could do that. And so I did it. Anyway, the point was I started a blogging course, Hilary, and I taught people, I just encouraged them to write in short spurts and put it on a blog on a website. Well, one of my students who became a friend wrote so many little stories that I said to her, I think there's a book in there. And she turned it into a book, and it was called Raging Against Aging. And she has a very edgy sense of humor, and it was about getting OLD. And it was, yes, and she turned it into a book, and I think she self-published it. It was a soft cover book, and she was very, but that spark came from me saying to her, you're blogging, you've got all these stories, put them together.
that's
They're
funny.
all on the same theme. So I thought you'd get a kick out of that. Thank you. Very interesting. Nancy, see how we just take that little nugget of information and we just go
Right.
with it? And everybody has something to say. Bill, I'm looking at your, well, some of what I wanted you to say. Um, I've already covered, but let me read 3 statements from yours, Bill, and we'll find something. You say, my writing is usually between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., then Jeopardy comes on. I love that. And then you say, it's not steady, some days only 1 or 2 hours. I'm on the family room couch with the warm weather. I will start writing on the porch, on the deck. I use my laptop. Okay, so you've got your desktop and your laptop. But here's
Yes.
what you say. This is what I want you to really focus on. You say, no goals. When I'm fully awake and feeling creative. Otherwise, book related tasks like listening to author videos, my publishing with print on demand with Amazon. So, when you're fully awake and feeling creative, let's talk about that. Is that something what some people call that being in the zone or being in the flow? What does that feel like to you, Bill? Can you tell us about that?
I think one has a consciousness when everything comes together. There are times, like you say, writer's block, you can't get anything out. So don't waste your time. Go do something else. But when it really starts to gel on those moments, whether it be 30, 60 minutes or a couple hours, you sit down and you get it all out there on the computer. And, that's how I do my writing. It's just done in spurts. I try to do it every day, but, I say they should, but, when it comes to me and then when it comes out, I think it sounds good, because again, there was this creative spark that I took hold of in those moments of enlightenment and wrote.
Bill, do you familiar with the term pantser versus plotter? Do you know what that is?
No,
Okay, that's a British writer's term. I'm seeing some questionable looks here. A pantser is somebody who writes when they feel like it. Seat of the pants. You sit down and you write whatever comes to mind. You just write it down. A plotter says, I'm going to have 25 chapters, and here are the titles of my chapters, and this is going to be the opening and the closing. And then they sit down and they might say, I think I'll write chapter 10 today. Or they might say, I'll start with chapter 1, and they fill in chapter 1, but they've already, Bill, are you okay? I know he's got a cough. You good?
yeah,
Okay, good. I want to clear it up with you. Okay, so a plotter is somebody who basically outlines the book and then comes back and fills it in. So, Bill, you a pantser or a plotter? What do you think?
I just do things that I'm spontaneous when it
A
comes to
pantser.
got
You're a
my
pantser.
stories, and I know what I want to tell.
Yep.
It's just a matter of what am I going to say that day? What order am I going to put them in? Somebody said this should be chronological. I put them more in terms of, elephants, water, tornadoes, lightning, skydiving, traffic. I tried to put it in that ends, and I think it comes together better that way than
There you
just
go.
starting from the beginning. In fact, the first story about is on the elephant because I think it's the most exciting. Although the skydiving, breaking both legs, it's exciting. Uh,
Okay, they're all
but the first
exciting.
time was when I was 9 and almost drowned in a pool in Puerto Rico because I didn't learn how to swim then. Unlike Tiffany, Hillary, who learned
Hillary,
at her age, uh, I couldn't swim and I almost drowned. I'm still not a great swimmer, but at least I can hold my own these
you,
days.
you can float now. Nancy, let's ask you: are you a pantser or a plotter when you write?
I'm definitely a pantser.
Okay, you just sit down and write when you feel like it, and there's no plan.
Well, I know the story and usually, and actually, I've talked to the birth moms and they've given me their story. So there is a plan of where I'm going. So, but the details and the emotion come in at being a pantser.
There you go. That I was hoping you would say that. Hilary, what about you?
Yeah, so I would say a pantser as well. Especially with unlocking the triathlon book, because, when I read all of these, I read so many I think I've read all of these triathlon books out there on the market, and they are so ridiculously intense and really over the head kind of like
Yep.
talking like physics and all this kind of stuff. And I wanted something so simple that anybody could pick this up and say, you know what? I could try. And
There
I
you
would say
go.
a pantser.
Okay. I'm still writing my novella. It's been about 3 years, and I wrote it very quickly, and I can't seem to talk myself into finishing it, but it's close. So I'm committing the month of July, when my work schedule will be less, to just finish the damn thing and self-publish it and get it on Amazon as an ebook. I don't want a hard copy. I have the cover, I have everything, and I'm just checking the legality of some quotes I'm putting in it, and that's about it. But I started out as a plotter thinking this is what I want to cover, and it just flowed. It came. I'd sit down, I'd write for hours, and now sometimes I don't touch it for a month, and sometimes I'll touch it on a weekend for an hour or two, and then I walk away for another month. So it's a push me pull you. It's an interesting, but I will tell you all that about 8 years ago I wanted to write a romantic comedy play, and I had no idea what to do. So I went online and I found Playwriting 101 in a downloadable document that was free from somebody who was, I guess, an instructor. And I loaded the Word document, and it told me, how do you describe a character, a scene, a setting? How do you say curtain up, curtain down? How do you open the story and close the story? What are the fonts? What is the spacing? What does it look like if you're going to send the script to somebody to act it out? And I started a couple of days later, and I wrote for 3 or 4 nights from 1 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the morning. I had a full-time job. I wrote, and at the end of that week, the play was done. You know why? First of all, I was writing fiction, and you're not. But the characters told me who they were, what they looked like, what they ate, what their history was. They told me how they talked. They told me how they wanted to interact with each other. And I was just the channel. And it was very exciting because it just came. So what I did was I had a television show on Long Island on Great Neck Access TV called Something to Talk About. I called some friends who were community actors all over Long Island, and I said, do me a favor. I have a play. I want to be a director for the first time. I'd like you to be in my play. I sent it out to a bunch of people, and 3 or 4 people said they'd do it. But I said, here's the deal. I'm not going to make you memorize lines. I'll have a teleprompter in front of each of you, and we will place it discreetly so it doesn't look like you're reading the lines. And you'll be in an empty studio with a green curtain, and we will have video. It took place in a cab in front of Penn Station, New York, and they get into the cab, and it's the cab ride. I bought a toy steering wheel at a toy store for the cab driver, and he was sitting on a chair. The man and woman were sitting on a bench behind him in a completely bare studio, and we had footage of cab noises, trains, and everything noises from Manhattan that we played in the background. And we had videos of traffic and a still shot of being in front of Penn Station at rush hour. And we put all of this in, and I got a picture of a van with the door open, and then they sat on and it looked like they were in and the door closed, and then they had the trip. And it was a blast. We did 2 versions. I'm happy to send it to you because we got it down to 26 minutes after it was about an hour long. For my TV slot was a half hour, and you only get 26 minutes. And it's on my Vimeo channel. So my experience was Bill, I think I was just ready to tell this story, but I didn't make it up. They told me. Is that weird? Can anybody identify with that? Anybody done any fiction? Nope. Nope. Well, I'll tell you when you get ready. Bill, you might have a fiction story in you about elephants and near misses, you know?
I still have a lot of stories about medicine and travel. I'm actually doing an allergy, asthma, eczema book at the time. So one of these days, maybe.
One of these days. Hilary, I want to
read more fiction.
I want to get to your creativity statements here, and then we have about 10 minutes left. Hilary says, I write at my desk mostly, but sometimes I go to the library or the local Starbucks to write for a change of scenery. I think when I'm training, while I'm swimming a mile or 2 or 8, Hello. I'm thinking about ways to inspire people to do what I'm doing. The same goes for when I'm running, when I'm cycling. I think best when I'm doing. Tell us a little bit about that, Hilary. That's
That's
very interesting. I haven't heard people say that. So go ahead.
I as I'm running or cycling a long distance or even swimming a long distance, your mind just keeps going and you start thinking about different things that you could write about, And it just to me, it just my creativity just flows when I'm doing these activities. It's just amazing.
What happens? What is it? Do you come up with things? I'm going to write another book, or what comes to
Yeah,
you?
it just all of a sudden, just like what you were saying about the actor, the story that you wrote, it all of a sudden comes to me like, oh, I should really, write about, the fear of the water, like Bill was saying. I mean, a lot of people have dealt with, near drowning experiences, or they've gone into the water and it's so frightening to them. My new book is coming out this October about open water swimming. It's called Unlocking the Open Water Swimming. And, so it's also a beginner's guide for open water swimming. And it's very, it talks about, I mean, I've got like stories in there, from real people who have experienced similar things to you, Bill. So, yeah, thanks for sharing that.
Very interesting. Bill, do you when you're doing things, are you inspired? Do you think when you're with the elephants, or when you're doing traveling, or when you're skydiving, you say, "I think I have another chapter for a book in here"? Does it come to you while you're in the middle of something, Bill?
No, these are things that happen in all my travels, and most of them just happen. I didn't have people say, "Well, did you try to get out of it?" And a lot of this has just occurred, and I couldn't have stopped it or changed anything. So
Okay, interesting. So you're basically reporting what happened. You're basically recounting or relating, correct?
yes, it's a memoir of my
Okay.
travels and my tribulations, and the things I got into, and luckily got out of because I'm still here.
I think there's a children's book in your future, going on a safari and meeting an interesting elephant. Don't think Babar. Think of something. We'll have another name for you, Bill. I'll help you.
Very good.
Nancy, briefly, when you're doing something, do ideas come for you? Are you going to write another book, Nancy?
Yes, I am going to write another book. And
Okay.
the book's going to be about nurturing your future adopted baby in utero.
That's lovely. By the way, I was doing bachelor auctions. I was hosting and co-hosting and some big venues on Long Island for years. I did it for the Cancer Care Organization, but I also worked with the AMT Children of Hope. Do you know who they are, Nancy?
No, I don't.
AMT Children of Hope was run by a man named Tim Jackard, and they found me and asked me to host a bachelor auction to raise money. They were the ones who would rescue babies who were left on the doorsteps of hospitals and fire stations.
Wow.
Children of Hope, that was the name of it. So it's called AMT Children of Hope. And I did a couple of events for them and with them as a
Oh,
volunteer.
wonderful.
And it was very meaningful. It meant a lot. It meant a lot. So, and he was well known in the community. I worked with him, and it was bachelor auctions were a lot of fun to do, especially when the guys were so inebriated that they were falling down on the stage while I was trying to sell them. Bill, have you ever done a bachelor auction?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, it's not for the weak of heart, I'll tell you that. It's yeah, I used to have a radio show and people knew me so much. I was on WGBB AM 1240, the oldest AM station on
Oh,
Long Island, and
yeah.
people got to know me, and so they invited me to be one of 8 media people who were hosting for cancer care. And I brought about 8 men that I knew, and they were scared out of their minds, and they were falling down on the stage and pulling me. I refused to. Never mind. Okay, there we go. We have a couple of minutes left, and I want to read you all some quotes, and then I have a poem to dedicate to all of you. So, Bill, you okay? You good?
No.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm concerned about
Just
you.
a little
Okay.
bit of mucus.
Okay, well, we'll take it the way we got it. So, in 1908 novel, Canadian author Lucy Maud Montgomery, ladies may know of her, she wrote Anne of Green Gables. And chapter 19 was A Concert, a Catastrophe, and a Confession. Nancy, isn't that a great title for a chapter?
Yes.
Yeah. And the quote I want to read to you, it goes to your creativity and the spark we talked about today. Something just flashes into your mind, so exciting, and you must out with it. If you stop to think it over, you spoil it all. Interesting, Bill?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Again,
I thought you'd relate to that. Yep.
I just, wait till the moment and it comes and then I start writing and keep writing. But again, it's got to come to me.
Yes,
And then when it does,
exactly.
you let
Well,
it
that's
out
what
and put it on the
she says.
screen.
It flashes into your mind. That's what we're talking about. She says in Rapunzel, Mandy Moore was in the movie Tangled 2010, 3D computer animated musical adventure fantasy comedy film. Could they find any more to string together? She said, venture outside your comfort zone. The rewards are worth it. I think you did that, Hilary. Ventured outside your comfort zone. And
Very
Nancy
outside.
probably too. And the Rolling Stones in their 1969 song said, you can't always get what you want, but if you try, you'll get what you need. We all know that line. And the Glinda the Good Witch of the North, played by Billy Burke in the original Wizard of Oz from 1939, the fantasy film, said, you had the power all along, my dear. There you go. And David Byrne, who used to be the front man for Talking Heads, the front singer, he was a guest on a show called How Ideas Happen podcast. And he said, sometimes I have the idea for a title of a song that comes to me. I write it down and I say, expand on that. I think there's something there. And I have in my computer a whole lot of musical ideas that may have a melody, a nonsense word, waiting for more. You need something to start with. It's hard to start from nothing. I'll leave it there. And I thought that was very interesting for creatives. And then I have a poem I'd like to read to all of you. We have time. I belong to an online poetry group, and every Wednesday during the year, we get a prompt. Bill, it could be a one word, it could be a phrase, it could be in my blank or my favorite blank, or it could be night, or it could be memory, it could be anything, it could be bicycle, it could be anything. And a whole bunch of us from around the world post our poems. But in the months of April and the months of November, which are 30-day months, he skipped September, the moderator gives us a prompt every single day. And I write usually 2 to 3 poems. I have about 900 poems because I've been doing this for 3 years. So you post it and people give a thumbs up and they comment and all kinds of poetry. But I like acrostics, and I think I'm the class clown because I write fun, upbeat, sometimes a little sarcastic, and they're all writing very serious stuff, most of them. Anyway, I'm dedicating this to the 3 of you. I wrote it on July 24th, 2024, and it was called Night Shift. That was the prompt, Nightshift. An acrostic, I picked, each letter has a line that starts. So Nightshift, and I'll read it to you. This is about the 3 of you. Never quite really at rest. It's the life of a creative, going, gripping, gyrating, growling, groaning, growing, highs and lows flowing on a mental Mobius strip, the days or the nights or the days again, shifting off and on, into and out of gear, hoping for unique brilliance even once. It's a calling, command, curse, roller coaster, finding eureka, euphoria amid frustration and fears. Thus is the life of the creative. And I dedicate that to the 3 of you. And now I'm ready to close. We've got a minute here, and Jordan's probably giving me signals here. 2 minutes. Let's go. Okay. In 2014, I closed my shows with the top 10 tips for women, Bill, but men could appreciate them too. And the number 1 tip was 10 years before the movie came out. Hilary and Nancy will understand this. Aspire to be Barbie. The biatch has everything. There you go. I wanted you to know that. And one more I'll read for anybody. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade and add vodka. Okay, now I'm going to close the show. Stick around and we'll talk after if you have a few minutes. Here we go. Life is short. Break the rules. I think we all do. Forgive quickly. I'm still figuring that one out. Kiss slowly. Definitely. Love truly. Yes. Laugh uncontrollably. Join me in a quick laugh. 1, 2, 3. Don't hurt yourself. And never, ever regret anything that made you smile. Final words. Work like you don't need the money. Dance like no one's watching. When I taught disco in high heels in a high school cafeteria near Eugene, Oregon, and they didn't have a stage, I had to dance on a cafeteria tabletop. Everybody watched to see if I'd fall. I never did, and what legs I had, but they built me a stage the next week. Sing like, there were 175 students, and it was disco. Sing like nobody's listening. I didn't sing tonight. And love like you've never been heard. We all have. Let your heart regrow, regenerate, reinvent, remove any pain, and try to learn to love again. Money talks, chocolate sings, la. And last but not least, I stole this line from somebody years ago. Thank you for turning me on. We're going to close the show right now.
Creativity show.
Join me and Dad. Stick around.
Live hour. Let it flow.
Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Hilary.
Savvy minds on the line.
You're all the savvy minds.
Producer and host in the glow.
I'm in the glow.
AKA Radio Red. Let's go.
Let's go.
Tell me what it is that sparks your fire.
What sparks your fire?
Keeps you moving
Higher and
higher.